In today's video, we are going to talk about the 3 basic strokes of drumming. And that's all there is to it. Drums have 3 strokes. I know that sounds so simple. We do so many things and play all over the place, but what it boils down to is 3 basic strokes. So here they are. So we have single strokes, fairly self-explanatory. 1 stroke per hand, single strokes. Double strokes, which again, fairly self-explanatory. 2 notes per hand. And then the final one is buzz strokes. And buzz strokes, we're getting multiple strokes per hand, and then we're blending those together. So let me just play a few of those just so you get the idea, know what we're talking about, and then we'll talk a little bit about technique for each of those, especially single strokes and especially double strokes. Double strokes are probably the hardest thing from a technical standpoint to play well. So single strokes, again, fairly self-explanatory. Those are single strokes. Double strokes. So 2 notes per stroke. Buzz strokes. So each of those and combinations thereof is what all drumming is based upon. So single strokes, when I just played those, I did 2 things, and hopefully you can catch that in the video, and we'll try to make sure we get a good view of it, but I'm actually switching from, in fact, I'll do it again and show you exactly when I switch. I'll say it. So I'm switching from wrist to fingers, okay, and it really becomes self-evident. So if I start out with single strokes, again, super loose, super relaxed, you're going to hear that from me all the time because it is so important. So if I'm playing with hands, I'm alternating. I'm playing a little bit of wrist. Now I'm going to do more wrist. This is pretty much all wrist here. Then there comes a spot where I'm going to switch to fingers. This is pretty much all fingers here. Now that is all fingers. Back. Okay, so I'm taking that transition. That's a great exercise, by the way, to practice. Just single strokes and making that switch. There's a spot where if I'm playing all with wrist, I just can't do it. I just can't go fast enough with my wrists, and so I have to make that switch. Now, when I'm playing fingers, this is kind of a tricky technique, and it's not something that's going to happen instantly. But literally what I am doing is I'm allowing the stick to come back, and I'm controlling it with my fingers. And again, very, very loose. I'm barely doing it, but I'm allowing that stick to come back, and then I'm just keeping it going with my fingers based upon that bounce as it bounces back. Now, when we look at double strokes, you'll see how we'll do this exact same thing. So let me try to show you. So there's a spot where it starts to come back, and I'm just allowing those fingers to control that stick, all right? It's a great technique, super important. If you see any drummers playing fast single strokes, 95% of the time they're using fingers because it's hard to play it with just wrist. And you know, this is where you'll see guys who are limited in technique really struggle with these kinds of things because maybe they don't understand or nobody explained to them that switch from a technical standpoint. You have to make that switch into single strokes with your fingers. Because otherwise, like I said, you just simply can't go fast enough, or it's going to take too much physical motion to be able to accomplish what you want to accomplish. So those are single strokes. Now, double strokes are super difficult to play well. So double strokes, in their most basic form, we're dropping the stick, we're allowing it to bounce, and we're catching it after the second note. Now, what I try to do, and this is what separates clean double strokes from not so clean double strokes, is I'm actually trying to accent the second note. And so I'm using a little bit of a push with my fingers again to accent that second note. Now I'm going to exaggerate it here. Hopefully you can hear that. Ba-bop, ba-bop, ba-bop. I'm accenting the second note, all right? I tell my students this all the time. I guarantee you, if you drop the stick, the first note will play. I guarantee you. You don't have to worry about the first note. It's the second note you got to worry about. So the key is thinking about that second note, being relaxed, and getting that feel of how that stick is bouncing back and controlling that bounce. So when I'm going fast and I'm thinking about articulating that second note, I can get very clean doubles. Okay, and you can see it. My fingers are working, all right, but I'm still very loose. The thing about that that's really cool is it gives me the control to be able to do it like on a floor tom, which is very loose and low. If I'm just bouncing that, there's no way I can articulate those two notes. This doesn't happen. But if I'm using my fingers and I'm really pulling out that second note, then I can get that articulation. So an exercise that I like to do for developing doubles is playing 4 16th notes and then 4 double strokes. So like this. The key with this is you don't want to go too slow. If you go too slow, you're not playing double strokes. You're cheating, and you're just basically playing singles. So it's got to be fast enough, but you don't want to go too fast. So right there where I did it is probably about the slowest as you'd want to go it. Now, the first time you do it, it's probably going to be kind of sloppy, and that's just what happens. So practicing separate, and then practicing and then the other thing that's a really good way to do this is to switch and lead with your left. Of course, assuming that you're right-handed. Now, if you're left-handed, then of course do the opposite, lead with your right. So you want to be able to lead with your weak hand as well, because the tendency is always for the strong hand to be a lot better at these than the weak hand is. All right? So double strokes are super important on drum set. I play them all the time. As we get into more drum set stuff and maybe some other videos with drum set beats and patterns and stuff, I play a lot of double strokes. And they're super important because they give you that more contemporary kind of a sound. Again, it allows you to open up with freedom what you can play by having that technique. All right? The last one, real quick, buzz strokes. Again, we're allowing the stick to buzz. We're giving it as much of that buzz as we can. Practicing them hands separate. The tendency here is to stick the fingers out and try to get it to go that way. Keep the fingers there. They're helping with the buzzes, all right? So another exercise, again, 4 16th notes, 4 buzz strokes. The key here is the rhythm stays the same, and we blend those buzz strokes together. So instead of beep, 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 we get bzzz. So like this. And so the tempo determines the length of the buzz, all right? So if I'm going at a faster tempo, then my buzz has to be shorter. If I'm going at a slow tempo, it's very difficult to get it to be clean. All right, now these are the building blocks of a buzz stroke roll. Real quick, I'll give you that. So a 9-stroke roll. So I'm playing 4 buzzes and a tap, all right? The reason it's called a 9-stroke roll, in a traditional roll, they're double strokes, so 4 times 2 is 8, plus the tap is 9. That's where we come up with the 9-stroke roll. So there's 9 notes there, but we're going to play it with buzzes. The key is a rhythm. If I don't play it with a rhythm, and again, I always tell students this, I hear this so many times with younger players. It's like they're guessing, where's the beat? I don't know, I'm just playing a roll. But it has to be measured. You have to measure your roll. So 4 16th notes in a tap. 1 E and a 2 E and a 1. 1 E and a 2 E and a 1. 1 E and a 2 E and a 1. So I'm measuring the roll. All right? So 3 basic strokes, single strokes, double strokes, buzz strokes. Sounds easy, not easy. Takes a lot of time, a lot of practice to work on these, all right? Hope you enjoy that and have fun drumming.